In this video, we'll be hunting 2 boxes of pennies, as well as seeing if we can make any progress to the Penny Hunt and Fill album. Of course, we'll be looking for any wheat scents from 1958 or older, and we'll also be looking for any proofs, foreigns, air reserve varieties, or any other oddities we can find, as well as setting aside any copper pennies we get, and seeing how much we can fill up the copper jar. And I have checked for enders in both boxes, and we do have one ender in the last roll of box number 1. We do have a reverse-facing wheat scent ender, which is a good sign for the box. So let's start the hunt on box number 1. Hopefully we can get something for the album, and I'll bring you in when we have our first find. Roll 2, and I just uncovered the first wheat scent of the hunt. It's just one from the 40s, but it is going to get us on the board. 1946 out of Philly. I just opened roll number 9, and I see the edge of something. I've only found 3 of them before. We have my 4th ever Indian head scent right there. Looks like it's in pretty rough shape. Hopefully that means it's an older one. I believe the 3 I found have been in 1903, 1888, and 1883. So if we can be in 1883, that would be amazing. So let's pull it out and see what we have. Is reverse facing. It is in pretty rough shape, pretty corroded and damaged. Let's see what year we're gonna get. And it's just in 1901, but still, that's the 4th ever Indian head scent I've ever found in circulation. It's been a while since I found my last one, and that is super awesome. Roll 13, it's not another Indian head scent, but we do have the second wheat scent of the box, and it's the same as the first one, another 1946 Philadelphia. Just opened roll 17, and I don't know what's going on with this box. We got the Indian head scent, of course, but I just see something, and I've only found a few of these before. That's a King George V Canadian scent right there. But we also have the 3rd wheat scent in the same roll, so I'm just going to pull that out first. And that is 1956 Denver. And as I said, this is my 3rd ever King George V Canadian scent. I'm going to look at the obverse first. And it is in pretty decent shape. Looks like it has a little damage on it. I believe the other 2 I found are both last year 1936s, so let's see if this one can be a little bit older. And it is a couple years older. It is a 1934. Pretty sure it's still a common year. There are a couple better dates of these in the 20s. But still, that's my 3rd ever King George V. Plus, we got that Indian head scent as well. So this box is just absolutely amazing, no matter how many wheat scents we get. Just opened the next roll, and this box just keeps on giving because I just opened this roll. It's another wheat scent for number 4, but it is one from the 20s. It's a 1928 out of Philly. But this is a pretty common one. I did look. We already have a pretty decent shape one in the album, so this one's not going to be for the album, but it is a 20s wheat scent for the collection and for the board, which is awesome. Just opened roll 20, and I see the edge of wheat scent number 5 of the box. Hopefully it's another older one. It looks like it has a little bit of a red patina to it. And it's going to be another one for E40s. Awesome. 1938 out of Philly. No, he already has for the album. It's a pretty common one, but still, another pre-40s wheat scent is always a great sign. Just opened roll 22, and I see the edge of wheat scent number 6. And based on what I see, I think it's going to be another old one because it looks super worn. Yeah, barely any detail left on the reverse. This is probably going to be from the teens or the 20s, and hopefully it's going to fill a spot in the album. And it is from the teens. Looks like it's a 1918 out of Philly. Unfortunately, I do know we already have that for the album. It's a pretty common date, but still, wheat scent from the teens. Another old find. We've gotten so many old finds in this box. I'm excited for the rest of it. Roll 28, and I just uncovered another wheat scent, and I see one a few coins behind it. So these are going to be wheat scents number 7 and 8, and we are going to have another one pre-40s. So I think that makes half of our wheat scents pre-40s, which is pretty crazy. And it is just another common one, 1936 Philly. Already have for the album, haven't gotten a wheat scent for the album yet, but still, all these pre-40s wheat scents is super great to see. Hopefully we'll get them for the album in this hunt. And a few coins behind it, I already see it. We have another one from the 40s, 1940, out of Philly. Just open the next roll, and I see the edge of wheat scent number 9. So after this, we only need one more to make double digits, which is awesome. And the majority of them we've gotten are pre-40s, which is very weird to see, but awesome at the same time. And wheat scent number 9 is a 1942 from Philly. Just opened roll 33. It's not nearly as great as a lot of the other finds we've gotten in this box, but we are going to get a slightly older Canadian cent. See the edge of a young head Canadian right here, which is 1953 to 1964. Looks pretty corroded, but it is 1957. Awesome to get a young head Canadian. Same roll, and I just uncovered yet another wheat cent, and this is going to be a second one from the 50s. Just a common 1958 Denver, but that does make 10 wheat cents on the box. Roll 35, just uncovered the 11th wheat cent of the hunt. Is another one from the 50s, 1953, minted in Denver. Just opened roll 41, and I see the edge of another wheat cent just a few coins in, which is going to make number 12 for the hunt. Doesn't look like it's going to be too old, and it is just a 1957 Denver. Just opened roll 49, and it's been a little bit, but I do see the edge of wheat cent number 13, so even though the box cooled down for a little bit, we obviously still have a bunch of great finds that definitely make up for it. And wheat cent 13 is 1954 Denver. And also, the last roll does have a wheat cent ender, so I'll definitely be bringing you in when I have that roll open. Just open the last roll, box number 1, which was the wheat cent ender. Don't see anything else in the roll, but here is the wheat cent ender. Doesn't look like it's going to be too old, and it is a 1947 Denver in decent shape for being in the 40s. And I'll look through the rest of this roll, and if there's nothing else, I'll bring you in for a box wrap-up. Box number 1 has been hunted, and it was an amazing box. First of all, for the wheat cents, we ended up with 14. And of those 14, 4 of those were pre-40s, which is a lot more than I usually get. Got a 1938, 1936, 1928, and a 1918, all from Philly. Unfortunately, we do already have all of those for the album, but still, it's a lot more older wheatons than I normally get, which is awesome to see. Then for Canadians, we ended up with 8 from the box, including a couple of older ones. One young head, 1957, which is pretty corroded, could be a metal detecting find. And my third ever King George V Canadian cent, which ended up being a 1934, which is awesome. And the find of the box, my 4th ever Indian head cent. It's pretty beat up, pretty corroded, but it is a 1901. Always super awesome to get an Indian head cent in the box. It has been about 6 months or so since I found one, so definitely great to find one of those again. So that was an awesome first box, a lot of wheats, a lot of oldies, old Canadian, Indian head cent. That was just an amazing box. Now let's move on to box number 2. Doubt it can be as good as the first box, but we'll have to see. I'll bring you in when we have our first find of box 2. Just open the third roll, and we're going to have the first wheat cent of box 2. I absolutely failed at opening the roll, but I do see the edge of a wheat cent right there, as well as the first Canadian in the box, which I might as well just pull out right now. It's a 1979, and let's pull out the wheat cent, and let's see what we have. First wheat cent of box 2 is a 1946 Denver. Just opened roll 10, and we are going to have the second wheat cent of box number 2. See it's reversed right here in the middle of the roll. And this one is going to be 1944 out of Philly. Just opened roll 13, and we're going to have wheat cent number 3 for box number 2. Going at a pretty steady pace so far. Hopefully we can make 10 wheat cents for this box. And this wheat cent is going to be 1957 Denver. Next roll, now we're going to be up to 4 wheat cents on the second box because I just uncovered wheat cent number 4 for box 2, and it is 1949, minted in Denver. Next roll once again, and now we're at 3 rolls in a row with wheat cents, which is awesome. And this is wheat cent number 5 for the box already, 1953 from Denver. Roll 24, just uncovered wheat cent number 6 for box 2, and it is 1946 out of Denver. Roll 27, and I just uncovered the 7th wheat cent for the second box, so we're definitely on pace to get double digits, which is awesome. And wheat cent number 7 is a 1952 Denver. Just opened roll 30, and I see that we're going to have wheat cent number 8, and there's also a Canadian in the roll. I'll just take out while I have it here. It looks like it's in really nice shape, and it's an older one as well. It's a 1976 in uncirculated condition. Maybe we'll upgrade my Canadian album. I allowed a brown one, red brown ones in there, so that's a great find. And the wheat cent is just 2 coins in the roll, and I already see the date, 1956 out of Denver. Roll 44. The box did get a little cold for a little bit, but we do have wheat cent number 9, so hopefully we can get one more in the last 6 rolls to make double digits. And the 9th wheat cent is just a 1957 Denver. Both penny boxes have been hunted, so let's go over the finds. We ended up with 10 1959s, 16 Esmonds, as well as 29 2009s. Foreigns, all were Canadian, and we ended up with 18 for the 2 boxes, including a couple of older ones. Pretty corroded 1957 Younghead, and what I'm really excited about, my 3rd ever King George V Canadian cent, this one being in 1934, which is awesome. Just one miscellaneous find, 1960 Small A, which I'll definitely take. Usually get about 1 a hunt, and that's pretty average. And lastly, for the wheat cents, we ended up with 23 for the 2 boxes, which was really good, mostly in the first box. Second box just about failed to get double digits, but that's alright because the first box made up for it. And of those wheat cents, 4 of those were pre-40s, 1938 Philly, 1936 Philly, 1928 Philly, and 1918 Philly. Just all common Philadelphias. Unfortunately, we already have all of them for the album. Maybe one of them upgrade, and either way, any pre-40s wheat cents are awesome to find. And lastly, the best find of the hunt, of course. It's in pretty rough shape, but it is my 4th ever Indian head cent found coin roll hunting. And it is a 1901, just a common one from the 1900s, but any Indian head cent is super tough to find, and I'm always super excited to find one, even if it's in terrible condition like this one is. Still super excited to find it. And for copper, we did pretty average for the 2 boxes, even though we got a lot of finds. Again, pretty much almost filled up the jar, which is about average for me, and it's a good amount of copper. So now I'll go through the finds and see if we can make any progress to the album, and I'll bring you back with an album update. Just finished going through all the finds and checking them against the album, and unfortunately we did not have any additions or upgrades to the album in this episode. Even though it was a great hunt, no additions or upgrades to the album, but either way, it was still a really good hunt. We got a lot of cool finds, especially that 1934 King George V, my 3rd one of those ever, and my 4th ever Indian head cent found in circulation as well, even though it's in rough shape. And just to commemorate finding it during the Hunt and Fill series, I am just going to put the Indian head cent in one of these spare slots after the wheat cents, just to remind myself that I found it during the series, even though it's not for the album and it's still such a great find. And even though we didn't make any progress to the album, it was still a super great hunt and a super fun hunt of the Penny Hunt and Fill series.